Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy Joshua. Anyways, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite series of all time. One of my favorite authors of all time from my childhood, and that author is R.L. Stine. I was a big fan of Goosebumps, and I'll admit it, I was a little young to start watching the series and reading the books. I was around 5 or 6, and I was at the library with my uncle and my grandfather at the time. And at the time, when I used to live in Chicago. I now live in Florida. But at the time, we used to go to the library. Now, I never read as a kid. No, I'll admit it. I was a very, very... I mean, most kids by my age were probably reading books. See, I hated reading. I just didn't like to read. Probably because I couldn't read at the time and wasn't really good at it, but I just didn't like to read. But, when I went to the library, I only went for the DVDs. Mostly the Pokemon, the Scooby-Doo, and sometimes the Yu-Gi-Oh ones, and those were VHS at the time. The DVDs didn't really come into the library until later on. And the library now that I go to, and actually we are donors of the library, so we have our name on a plaque there. But the funny thing was, now not only do they have DVDs, they got rid of the VHSs that they have. They have now DVDs all. They have video games, comic books, not to mention a bunch of other stuff. But they only originally had books and VHSs. That was it. Anyways, from that age, I went on to doing a lot of stuff. So I was with my grandfather. I forgot what year it was. Probably, I was born in 1997, so I was probably 2001 or 2002. 2002 most likely. And I was at the library, and I think it was during the summer. Either during the summer, pretty sure it was during the summer. And we used to go to the library a lot during the summer. We went sometimes during the school year, but never as much as we used to during the winter or during the summer. Anyways, I went to the library. I went to the VHS section, and which was basically when you walk into the kids' room, there was VHSs on the first row of stuff was all VHSs and stuff. Books were all the way on the other freaking side of the library. I mean, you would see the VHS first. So I was looking around, my Scooby-Doos, and I've probably seen most of them already, and they hadn't got any new ones. Went on to the Pokemon, maybe picked out 2 or 3 of them. Picked out one old Scooby-Doo that I would like to watch again. And I always had a limit as a kid because, if they get lost or broken, that my grandparents had to pay for it, and they didn't they weren't cheap, but they really didn't want to pay for something that my parents should be responsible for. And I'll admit it now, I don't have a library card because, I don't need a library. I can just go to Barnes & Nobles and buy something if I really needed it. Or I have a phone or have a computer at home to do stuff. So I don't really need to go to the library as I used to have to as a kid. But I had a computer from the age of by the time I was around 7 or 8, we had a computer in the house. But before that, my only computer that we had was in my grandparents' house, and I never ever used it that much. I didn't even have an actual iPhone till I was in high school. My junior year is when I got mine, iPhone 5S, and I still have it today. So that's what I'm broadcasting on right now. Anyways, when I was a kid, so I was back to the Goosebumps. Anyways, I went into the VHS section, and I saw the Haunted Mask, the VHS. And as a kid, I didn't get scared at first. If you saw, as a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, I'm looking at the VHS cover, and usually a 5-year-old or 6-year-old will start crying because the cover is so fucking terrifying. I remember the VHS cover, and now as an adult, I could see how a 6-year-old or 7-year-old or 5-year-old or 6-year-old just would start crying, but I didn't. I just thought it was really fucking cool. So I went to my grandfather and said, "Hey, can I get this one?" And he looks at it like, and nowadays, I asked him what his original reaction was in his head, and he was like, he was going to say to me when I was a kid, the fuck you, the fuck, what the fuck? You want to get this movie? No, 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 you can't get this movie. And at that time, I mean, in the 2000 eras, rating for TV shows was just starting out. I mean, it was just starting out. I mean, by this time, Goosebumps was already over. We did it started in 1995 and ended in 1997, I believe. Yeah, either ended in 1997 or 1996. I'm not sure. But then they were having now was going out was Nightmare Room, which was like Goosebumps but by the same author, and they're the same stories. It's different stories, different entire idea. It's still anthology, but a different entirely idea. Anyways, this story was, I mean, my favorite movie. It was my favorite books and movie series at the time. I watched Haunted Mask was my first one, and I was able to get it. My grandfather was so lenient, and he basically said to me, it looks scary, but if you have nightmares, I don't want to hear your parents crying about it to me that you kept them up all night. And I said, okay. I don't think I'll have that much nightmares. So I went brought it home, put it in my VHS player in the downstairs and watched it. Now, I'll admit my mom came home that day and saw me watching this, and she flipped. I mean, she flipped. She said, "Josh, what the hell are you watching?" And I'm like, "Mom, I'm watching this VHS Papa got me." And she says, "Oh, Papa got it for you. I guess that's okay." But I mean, she flipped. At first, she thought I got it without Papa's permission. My grandfather's. We call Papa. I'm Jewish, so we call the Yiddish word for grandfather Papa. So I called him that, and he said, "Oh well, he got it for you. It's fine." So I watched Haunted Mask, and I thought it was a very good movie. I wasn't scared of it. I mean, I got a little nervous a little bit, but I wasn't scared. Then I watched, was it Night in Terror Tower? I think it was Night in Terror Tower. And that one I liked a lot. I think that was my, one of my favorites. Then I watched Stay Out of the Basement, which was another good one. Let's see, I watched Where Else Fever Swamp. They didn't have a lot at the time, so I'm going to let you know, they didn't have a lot of the Goosebumps movies. They had about, 10 to 15 of them. And there was about, 35 or 60 episodes, if I remember correctly, or something like that, they had made. But I've only watched about 10 to 15 of the episodes. And then I watched Night of the Living Dummy 3, I believe. And that will still remain my favorite book and movie or episode ever. Night of the Living Dummy and 3 and the book 3 is still will remain my favorite book in the series and in the movie. And now and as all you know, they made a Goosebump movie. And when I found out, because my little sister had a book fair, and I was in high school at the time, or just leaving high school, and we don't have book fairs anymore. And she brought home books from her book fair. It's been a family thing now for me. So when one of the kids when my brother or sister has a book fair, they'll go get. Mom will give them money, or I'll give them money. And if there's Goosebumps books, they'll buy them for me at the book fair and then bring them home for me. Well, I went and looked at my books that my sister brought me, and on the front of the book, I think I still have them. Let me take a check. Let me take a look real quick. I think I still have one of them that I can prove to you what it said. Here we go. Here it is. It's a little worn out, but I bought it. Yeah, I need to find it though first, people. Because there's a thing of Slappy on there somewhere saying, "Oh, it's soon to be a motion picture or something, feature length film or something like that." Yeah, I can't find it. Dang it. but it was like soon to be a feature-length film, and I was flipping shit. I mean, I was flipping shit. I was cry happy because because all I've ever wanted to do was introduce kids to the Goosebumps series is because I'm telling you, and I've always believed this, life is no fun without a good scare, and that's what R.L. Stine taught me. I mean, I think 95 of my best moments was watching Goosebumps. I mean, okay, now, let me continue on before that. So when I was watching it, I picked up a couple of the other ones. Now, I had taken a break after watching The Haunted Mask 2. So I'll admit, I probably did the stupidest thing and watched it at night. And I had horrible time sleeping just from watching it at night. That my parents had, just seeing the VHS tape of The Haunted Mask sent me into a panic phase. I mean, I was so freaked out. So my parents had to literally take it back to the DVDs, the library. Sorry, this is my brother, folks.
Fuck off. Josh, wanna go outside and play Pokemon Go?
Sure, 1 second. Let me finish my video. Anyways, so I was watching that, and I got scared. So my mom and dad had to bring it with me in the car. They had to actually put a cover over the VHS thing, so I couldn't see the face. So I said I would not go in the car if I saw that thing. I told them that because I brought that DVD out or movie with my own library card at the time, and the only way they would bring it back was if I had my library card, and my parents did not want to take my library card. They wanted me to take it back myself. I said, okay, I'll go with you, but I'm not seeing that car unless there's a cover over that movie. And I said, okay. They said, okay. They put a cover over it. And I gave it to them. And the lady who checked me back in took one look at me and says, why are you bringing it back so early? And I basically told her the entire thing. And she's like, oh, well, you do know this is they recently made a rating for this. It's children under the age of 7 shouldn't be watching it without parents around. And at the time I watched it, my dad was asleep on the couch, and I wasn't. So that's why I watched it. So basically, there was no one there to cover me when I got scared at the time. So basically, that was my worst experience. So I took a break from the Goosebumps episodes and decided to read the books instead. It wasn't until in junior, maybe 6th grade or 7th, that I started to get back into it because of two friends named Bobby and Tyler. They were big fans, and I remember we used to get computer time in my school, and we would go onto YouTube, and we would sit and watch Goosebumps on YouTube. And I remember one day they'll be like, "Oh, watch Goosebumps," and everyone would be like, "Oh," I actually say, "Don't watch that one, Haunted Mask 2." And I remember having bad memories of it. And I said, "Don't watch it." Like, why not? Because it's fucking terrifying is what I said. I didn't say the F word. I said the freaking word. And I said, "No, it's not. I mean, watch it now. I dare." They all sat me down and said, "Watch it now." And I promise you won't get scared. So I watched it, and then what? They were freaking right. I didn't get scared. I wasn't scared. I just sat there and watched it, and I thought it was very good. And I thought I think it's because I was 6 at the time when I saw it, the first one, the Haunted Mask 2, and now at the time I watched it, I was in probably 8 or 9, I was 9 or 10, and I was probably grown up and knew that this stuff wasn't real, that stuff couldn't be real. Do I believe masks can be haunted? Haunted? Yes, that's basically my job is going to be later on to be a paranormal investigator, so I do believe stuff can be haunted and cursed. I'll have to take a break from this one because my brother, as you say, he wants to go play Pokemon Go. But I'll be back in about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and I'm going to continue with the